Alrighty, we are back. Today we've got close to an hour, more like 45 minutes. We're going to go ahead and get our character to move. That's where we're going to start off, and then we're going to start thinking about some of the other character features. I'm going to go ahead and open up our vault so we can take a look. Later, once we start doing the features, let's dive right into the code. So I'm going to go over real quick what we've got. Interesting. I'll go over the code real quick. So far we have a private float movement speed. This is going to be the speed we move at. We've got a reference to our rigid body, reference to player input. This is using the new input system. We go ahead and set up those inputs here, and then we move based off of them. We are going to rename some stuff in our input thing. So throttle is going to be forward, or actually we'll just call it horizontal and vertical. And then, or actually, we'll make this a four-way composite. We'll just call this movement. We will make you a value. You can be a vector too. Up, down, left, right composite is what we care about. You can go away. Up is going to be W on the keyboard. D is going to be S, so on and so forth. I will probably modify my mouse at some point. This mouse is kind of garbage. Alright. So now we have this set up. Now we can just delete one of these. We don't care about, say, this rotation. We're going to change this to, say, movement. We do not want to do our velocity check inside of update. Rather, we want to do that inside of fixed update. And the reason for that is we're using physics to move. So here we get our value inside of update, and then we move in fixed update. This will make it a little bit more reliable, so you won't try and move and then there'll be a delay before you can move. Then we just need to find which one is our player. I'm going to rename this player. I like to use 3 equals, so I like to go like this. I'll just drag that in. What's he mad at us about? Oh. And this is movement action. I think I need to install the C# package. Maybe that's why I'm not getting IntelliSense. We're going to set up a private vector2 movement, delete you, save you. Yep, there we go. I'm going to uncheck show at start on both of these for now. I misspelt something. So it's saying it wants the rigid body 2D, helps if I have that. We're going to set gravity scale to 0. And then, are you mad about something else? Where's our collapse? We should take out that debug. Okay. Take 2. There we go. We got our movement. It's beautiful. It's not perfect, but it'll work for now. Let's solve the IntelliSense issue. Generate all CS project. Interesting. Preferences, external tools. Alright, we'll see if that fixes it. Alright, so one of the core principles is single purpose. So what that means is each script needs to be responsible for one thing. So this script is responsible for movement. It should not be responsible for anything else. Our player aiming script is responsible for aiming, doesn't need to be responsible for shooting or anything else. So we need to set that up. Let me find our debug. Yep, you can go away. That'll just clear up our log. So if we look at our list of stuff that we want for the player, right now we're working on figuring out the gameplay loop. I'm thinking I will eventually set up like a Trello or something to keep easier track of things, but we can do that in between recordings. Let's see here. So we're going to want players to have a basic ability. We're going to want players to be able to have a alternative ability. We're going to want the players to have a I guess like a class type ability. And we need to start working on one of those. So our basic ability will be determined by our weapon. Our heavy attack will be determined by our enchantment. And our class ability will be determined by who you're playing as. So for the skill system, we need to be able to have modular skills that we can slot in or out. We want to be able to have some form of method of doing that. So we need probably a base class for a skill. We probably are going to need some sort of second. Maybe even an interface here. I think we're going to start off by making an interface. So what we're going to do is go to our code folder, and we're going to make a new script. If I can get my mouse to cooperate, I'm going to create a folder called Skill System. I personally like to break out my projects into different systems. Let's start off by making a iSkill. This is going to be an interface that all skills will use. This will allow us to have common functions across all of our skills. And we're going to have void activate skill and void deactivate skill. We'll need to eventually create like a character class or something for that. We'll do that at some point. Let's make our character class. So this is different than like player movement or whatever. This is going to be for holding our data of the character. So we're going to create another one. We're going to call this character. And this could be something that many characters have. This isn't necessarily only the player that will have it. Interesting. List iSkill is a list of iSkills. We're going to go ahead and make this a get private set. So I'm going to make this capital. We're going to go like so. We're going to do get private set. This is going to allow it so only we can edit this. Add skill. So we're going to add our skill. The autocomplete thing is a thing called GitHub Copilot. Alright, so this takes in a skill, and we're going to add our skill to our list. This removes a skill from our list. This is just to control what skills we have or don't have. We can use this to swap out things when we are using, or swapping out like weapons or swapping out enchantments or what have you. We should probably do a better job here. We want to make sure that it has it, so we're going to say if skills contains if we have it, then we're going to activate it. I'd rather do it like this though. And here we're going to do skill, and this is not going to take in an int. This is going to take in a iSkill skill, and then this is going to take in a skill dot activate skill. And then we're going to do the same thing for deactivating skill. So I can delete this, and we can see if it'll pick it up. skills contains skill. So you can see Copilot isn't perfect. This, in fact, would not work here. My IntelliSense is still not working. And we'll call activate and deactivate skill. Activating a skill, in this case, is going to be missing that there. So this means performing it. So this is not like assigning it or anything like that or enabling it. This is something that is triggered when you press the button to make the skill happen. So this could be a sword swipe, this could be a whatever. So let us start with a weapon skill to make our life easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this weapon system. And in here we're going to make a class called weapon. We're going to have a base class weapon, and then we're going to have specific weapons inherit from it with specific implementations. Can't tell, did I type 2 O's? I did not. Alright, this is going to be a abstract class. This is essentially going to mean that anything that inherits from it is going to have to implement the functions in this class. It's a way to make sure that we have what we want in it. So we're going to have a public string name. We're going to have a public int damage. We're going to have a public weapon that's going to take in a string and a damage and then assign it. This is just a constructor. And then we're going to have a public abstract void attack that will want to specify who we're attacking or what we're attacking. For now, we'll do a transform target. That'll work. Now we can make specific weapons. So for starters, we're just going to make a basic sword swipe to make our life easy. I'm going to create a sword. We'll call it a short sword. So this is going to inherit from weapon. See if it picks up. Yep, we need these because it's abstract, so we're going to need both of these. We'll leave a debug attacking for now. Rather than just having a string and like this, we're going to actually just set it up. So we're going to call this a short sword. We're going to call this a 10 for now. This will be moved, so I'm going to make a to-do move to scriptable objects. So eventually what we're going to do is pass in like a weapon data scriptable object, which will then get this information from. But for now, we'll just set it up like this. We're going to attack. We've got our target. We're going to say attacking with a short sword, and then we're going to say let's do our $ here. Dealing damage. So now we are going to go ahead and make our basic attack skill. So this is an umbrella skill for just your basic sword swipe or what have you. So we're going to go back to our skill system. We're going to create characters, probably not part of this. Might need to move it out of this. We'll call this basic attack. Again, I think I spelt it wrong. No, I didn't. It just looks weird. Looks like there's 2 eyes. This is going to inherit from iSkill. This is going to take in a weapon. This is going to have a private. Weapon. We're going to do this dot weapon equals weapon. What is it? I don't remember the shortcut. Shift Alt F. Alt F? No. What is the shortcut for formatting? Shift Alt F. Oh, okay. There's no formatter installed. Something's messed up with my installation of Visual Studio Code. I'm used to Visual Studio Community. So what we want to do here is we want to call attack, and then we would read in our transform here. And then we would call our target here. And then we're also going to want a public void deactivate skill. And then in here, we're going to do something when the attack is over. Go back here, tab you out. Alright, I will say I really like the color coding that they do for the parentheses, or the squiggly braces. Alright, so all of this is in the data layer. Now we need to create a version of the character for the actual scene. We're going to move this to just our scripts folder for now. And then we're going to create a new script. We'll call this character mono, I guess. We might come up with a better name for this. Character This is going to keep track of where we want to spawn our weapon, and it's going to keep track of the weapon we're currently using. Interesting. So in here we're going to say weapon sword equals new short sword. We're going to set character add skill, new basic attack sword. So we're going to start off with our basic attack sword. In our update function, so the advantage here from keeping our data and our mono behaviors and our visual stuff separate is if we edit the data, we don't have to worry about having to edit the other things. There's a degree of separation. So generally my default design pattern that I like to use. So next, what we want to do is we want to set private void update weapon. This is going to say if the weapon has changed, then we're going to want to update the model. So iSkill currents going to be equal to character.skills, I think. We're going to say if current weapon is basic attack, if that is the case, so if our current weapon is our basic attack, we're going to want to set weapon we don't have a current weapon, or a current weapon we should probably have an ID with our weapons, maybe? Yeah, that'd probably be a good way. Public int ID. Yeah, that's probably how we want to handle it. And then we need to specify an ID here. We'll go with this for now. I'm not 100% sold on it. We will probably have to refactor this. So if our current weapon dot ID does not equal our current skills ID, not our current skill, our current weapon, and we would want to destroy our current weapon, and then we would want to spawn the new weapon. That's what we want. We want a int current weapon ID equals basic attack dot weapon dot ID. That's what we want. That makes sense. And this is going to be current weapon ID. So if we don't have a weapon equipped currently, or if the weapon that we have equipped's ID does not equal what our current weapon's ID should be, we're going to destroy our current weapon and spawn in a new weapon. This will allow us to update that. Let me fix formatting. I don't like the way it does that. I like my stuff like that. So let's port our weapon data to scriptable objects, I think, is the play. So we're gonna, I like to do a base class system for this. So we're gonna call this classes. Then in here, we're gonna make our data. So we're gonna do weapon data. And then our weapon data is gonna inherit from scriptable object. That to make our life easy. Delete all of these. Give it a second to catch up, and then we can move all that in here. And then we might as well also have a public game object prefab. I like weapon prefab better. Then we're going to modify our weapon script here. Instead of all of this, this is just going to have a weapon data. So public weapon data data get private set, and this is just going to take in a weapon data. Now we're going to say, oops, away. We're going to say data equals data. We'll still have our attack. And this would be doing our attack. Then we need to also update it here to be based off of our data. Where we can spawn in our stuff. So we're going to say current weapon equals instantiate basic attack dot weapon dot data dot weapon prefab. Add our transform, and this is going to make it our parent. And then I noticed an error I have here. This should be current skill. Our current skill is a basic attack skill. There we go. Much more better. And then we might as well, we don't care about setting the name or anything else here. Alrighty. What else should we do? So we have a character which we can add or remove skills from per here. We have an ability, a way to activate our skill or what have you. I think I'm going to install I'm not liking Visual Studio Code as far as like IntelliSense and stuff. I'll probably just install regular Community after this. Oh, let me check chat. This. Get a top-down hack / if my apologies if I don't get to your chats fast. I have one monitor set up currently. I have no idea how long ago this was. Is there a way to check? Don't think so. Perhaps if I pull up the actual channel, there's a way to check. Monitor setup currently. I have no idea how long ago this was. Is there a way to check? No, it doesn't say anything. So. Perhaps if I pull up the actual channel, there's a way to check. Alright, there is quite a delay. Pause that though. Alrighty. We can remove this to do. Short sword is going to take in a base. This is going to throw an error now. We could do that. We could do... this is going to do weapon, data, and then this is just going to feed in data. That should work. Let's check Unity, see if it's mad at us. It is mad at us. That's because iSkill needs to have a transform target in it. We're going to do it like that. We're going to go here. Remove that. I'm going to revert that. We just need to have the function. It doesn't have to be an override. Why are you mad at this? Alright, I'm gonna have to do some more refactoring there, something like that. Does not like. I guess that's fair because it's abstract. This would be now data dot damage, I believe. Capital D data? Capital D data. And for now, we're just going to hard code it. We're going to have a serialized field, we'll have a private weapon data short sword, and then we'll just feed in short sword here. Are you private? No, you are public. We should be able to access it. So lowercase d damage. Basic attack dot weapon. We need to fix that. Where's our basic attack? You are we'll just make a setter for that, so we'll do public get weapon, and this is going to return weapon, and then we can go back to here and then dot get weapon like that, and then this can be get weapon dot ID. That should fix those. And then public weapon. Yeah, I do not like not having my squigglies. Get weapon is part of basic attack. And then weapon. Oh, whoops. This would be dot data dot ID. Weapon dot we'll fix you. Might have to rethink some of this. Get weapon. Should fix those. Current weapon dot data dot ID is what we want there, and then call this current weapon data. So we want to know if our current weapon, which is our data object, should be this guy, which is fine. And we want to know if our current weapon up here, which is our spawned weapon, if it's data, we'll probably need a class to handle that. So to do a class to hold the weapon data on the spawned weapon. To put some more thought into the system. There's something that I'm missing here, but I'm running out of time for today. We will have to get to it tomorrow. Alrighty, take it easy, guys. we shall continue